What he's talking about is the amount of fuel that they are allowed to put in the car at each stop, not the amount of fuel that the car is allowed to carry. And that is a different thing. So the amount of fuel that is going to go into the car is the same no matter what. I mean, it's just that they have to do it in extra steps at Roll Centre. And one of the discussions that the team has been having is, well, the time we are going to spend refueling is going to be the same no matter what, because we're going to put the same amount of fuel in.
Yes.
The problem is that we're going to have to come in more often to do those stops.
Yes.
And that means we're going to have to spend time trundling down the pit lane at 40 kilometres an hour rather than racing around the racetrack. But it is only that makes a difference. So even though it sounds like a massive penalty, it doesn't actually make that much of a difference. So we'll see how it pans out. I mean, they'll be looking at fuel consumption and obviously trying to use code 60s to their advantage and to use fuel efficiency during code 60s, because obviously the car can be made to run more economically when it's only running at 60 kilometres an hour. But I think the point that Joe Bradley made when he first came up here, before he was on air, was there's an awful lot of TCRs out there.
There are.
And
they are running the numbers that start with a 1. That's the 100s, isn't it?
Nearly. Yes, I think so. Yes, I think nearly all the cars are running as 3-digit numbers anyway. I think it's probably the first race.
I've seen that now, and I've just seen a Cup 1 car, so that's now confused me. I thought there was more method in the numbering than perhaps there are. We've had 26 cars out. A car that we won't see this afternoon is the Newbridge Motorsport Porsche Cayman GT4 Club Sport. This is the Devon Medell, Aidan Reid, Jem Littman, Farid Ali and Chris Valentine car. Now Chris, when out in free practice earlier on today, was warming his Hankook tyres and stuck the car rather terminally, I'm afraid, into the bridge parapet on the Hanger Straight.
Yes, that's right, and on only his third flying lap, I think. So that car, the Newbridge Porsche Cayman, number 249, currently being looked at. Apparently the chassis has taken some damage, and we'll see whether or not it comes out in qualifying. But having a bad qualifying isn't necessarily the end of the world. Remember who started at the back of the grid at last year's race?
Absolutely, the point I was about to make. I think that's a little bit more than the issues that Shorty and Richard had last year.
They had problems, as far as I remember.
Yes, they did. Drive shaft
problems. They kept on breaking on them.
Popping drive shafts
during qualifying last year.
I'm told that the team, and Joe Bradley might be able to jump in on this. Joe, please feel free. I'm told that the team are trying to source another Porsche GT4 Cayman Club Sport, Joe, is that right?
Yeah, that's the story that I picked up just before this session. It's basically the 2 chassis legs that come from the bulkhead that you basically just used to hang the bumper off, but it's perhaps repairable if it was just one chassis leg, but the whole front of the car's kind of been jolted across to the left of the car, which means that to get the car repaired it would have to be rejigged, completely rejigged, which means a visit to the body shop. Now, not a problem if the race was next week, not a problem. So they've gone off, they've got somebody sourcing a car from somewhere in the locale, and they're pretty confident that that's gonna be done. And when we say sourcing, we mean buy. They're going to go off and buy another race car. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I think so. I think that's the thing. So we may see them out with the car readied for night practice, where everyone can then have a drive and get acclimatised to what should be exactly the same kind of thing.
Thank you, Joe. Joe Bradley down there in the pit lane. It is Bradley, Trustwell and Hindorf, your voices this weekend. Just the 3 of us. And just remind you that this is a 1-hour session. We're 6.5 minutes through it already. The usual variety of touring cars and GT4s here, with Minis, Clios, BMWs. We've got a raft, as Paul was saying, of TCR cars, including the new Audi RS3 LMS TCR. Pit Lane Competizione running one of those. And I think I'd seen a second one
There was a second one.
List.
Yeah, there was a second one entered, but I think it's really just being used as a spare chassis. It's
got you.
Down in the garage, also entered by the same team. But as I say, the Pit Lane Competizione team, I think they've scratched this second entry, and they're just going to use, because there's not a lot of Audi RS3s around.
And they sold within a picosecond. Basically, if you want one now, you have to wait for quite some time. We have got a Lotus Exige out there as well in the GT4. That's the SP3 class. There's 3 of the Cup 1 class BMWs, the 235i's as well. In fact, no, there are 4 of those cars, aren't there? That Porsche Cayman, we hope that one, well, we're going to find a replacement for that. Caught Oyster Racing using an M3, a couple of Honda Civics, Ginetta G55 as well, which I still think is a great car. That's Colin White, and along with Philippe Salini, Patrick Matthewson and Martin Thomas, the Anglo-Franco-Danish driving squad. Beautiful sunshine at the moment on the far side of the circuit as the number 110 comes through the infield complex and through the loop onto the Wellington Straight. The number 110 being the Lestrup Racing Team with Volkswagen Golf TCR. Now I've said that, and that doesn't look like a Golf, or maybe, yeah, yes it is. All right, I'll give it that. The Golfs and the Seats are very similar, as you might imagine. The Audi going another way because they've chosen the boot, the saloon, the sedan version of the RS3 to turn into their TCR car. New TCR cars coming from Hyundai and a number of other manufacturers. There is an international TCR race this weekend, further afield than Silverstone, I should say. Nice to see a bit of sunshine here. It was absolutely glorious here yesterday when Paul and I first came for a quick recce. 23 degrees showing on the Fiat Spider dashboard, so the roof was down all the way from Hindhoff Towers to here. Indeed, the 1,500 miles that I've done in that car have been by far the majority with the roof down, or not certainly in 23-degree temperatures. Several jumpers and a woolly hat at times.
So that's why the hair's looking...
I've gone to the low downforce, low drag. I realised when my motorcycle helmet was beginning to be slightly too tight that I was going the way of Sam Collins, and a hair raid was required, and quite a severe one, which is now 3 weeks old, so you can imagine what it was like when I first had it done, Paul.
2 minutes.
I get value out of it, though.
Well, absolutely. Don't get less often and more off. 2 minutes 14.360 is the best lap of the afternoon's qualifying thus far. And this is qualifying. This is the only qualifying. So we're talking grid positions here.
And this is traditional 1 hour, go out, go around, get the best time you can.
Absolutely, proper qualifying.
Yes, excellent.
In the way that those who are of our age remember proper qualifying used to be. But there is only one session of it, although there is a night qualifying session this evening. That doesn't count for grid positions. So 2:14.360 is Rick Breukers at the wheel of the 303 Red Camel Jordan Seat Leon TCR class car. Finished second in last year's race. Rick driving again with his father Ivo Breukers, Shako Griffione and Klaus Kresnik, the other 2 drivers in that car, and they are the quickest.
Now, Paul, as ever, you've been browsing through the supplementary regulations as provided to us by Natasha, and once again thank you to all the Creventic organisers for making sure that we have all the right information here. We said this is a standard qualifying session, but do all the drivers have to get in the car in this session?
No. No, as long as they go out at some point, either in this session or in one of the free practice sessions, or in night practice, and do two timed laps, then that is sufficient for qualifying. So in that sense, this is a timed qualifying session where it's the times we're looking at which are significant. And the Mondial Competition Seat Leon is now gone quicker than the Red Camel's car. That with Alvaro Bajo at the wheel of it, the number 107 TCR I say Seat. Most of the TCRs are Seats, with the exception of the Golf and the Audi, as John was just saying. But now the mark down to 2 minutes 14.035, and that's over 4 seconds quicker than last year's fastest race lap. So certainly TCRs going very rapidly at the moment. As I say, the Rick Broiker's car has now come into the pits. That's still second fastest with that 2:14.360. Third fastest is the fastest of the GT4 cars, and this is number 178, the Ginetta G55. Number 178 being driven at the moment by Patrick Mathieson, and Patrick has done a time of 2 minutes 17.295, so he's some 2 seconds, nearly 3 seconds off the pace of the two TCRs in first and second.
Rick Broiker's in the pit lane in that bright orange John Jordan's Camel machine, and looking an absolute picture in that Tango livery. And as Paul says, it never ceases to amaze me how development, even on these TCR type cars, goes from season to season. The bodywork, accoutrements looking more and more like the old Group 5 cars to me. They don't perhaps have the profile of those old cars. Remember back to the BMWs, of course. Although some of those were fairly sit up and beg as well, weren't there, in time? And with those big box arches, with the wing extensions on them, the fender extensions on them, it does give that to me. That's certainly what it looks like to me. We'll go through some of the other class leaders for you. BMW Intersport Racing, 9th position for the A3 category. That is the number 140 car. That's a M3 CSL. Kevin Clark, Adam Hayes, Paul Black and Ryan Lindsay, the all British crew. And that car, as I say, sitting pretty on the top of the times for A3 in 9th position overall. Cup 1, the BMW Cup class. This is the number 154 car that leads, which is the QSR team. Jimmy De Bruyke, Mario Timmers, Rodrigo Guillon, Jeffrey van der Hooijdonk. So all Belgian-driven machine. And they are leading Cup 1 class in 13th. A2 is the number 92 car, which, interestingly, is not on my list. However, I can... that was because I've read it wrong. It's 91. The 91 car is the Honda Civic, of course. That's the Jack Fabi, Carl Swift, David Vincent and Mark Harris car, another all-English crew. That's the Area MS Owens Endurance entered machine. And they are leading A2 in 20th position overall. And then on to page 2 for the A3 class leader. Is that the 136? Yes, it is. And that is the Moss Motorsport E46 BMW M3. That's Barry McMahon, Scott Adam, Chris Murphy and Mike Moss who are in that car. So some tyres being changed. Once again, Hankook supporting the series extensively this year. And Joe Bradley down there in the pit lane enjoying the afternoon sunshine. Joseph, we've got a new car to talk about as well in the series.
We've got a Mini. We've got a Mini from the Accelerate team, and I don't know if anyone knows about Accelerate, but they are the company behind the Mini Challenge in the UK. There's nobody knows more about Minis, and for the team and the company to bring an endurance racing Mini to this series is just phenomenal in my view. Not only that, we have got some proper pedallers in that car, and I don't mean that disrespectfully to the lesser experienced cars, but we've got one Stewie Hall and, would you believe, one Mark Lemmer. The car's due any moment. Stewie Hall's ready to get in the car, and we're going to be ready to have a look at this car when it arrives, guys, so I'll give you a shout. It's due any moment now, because Stewie Hall is waiting for the car to arrive.
Thank you, John. One of the things that I've been asked a couple of times on Twitter, and it's at Specutainment as usual, at Radio Le Mans we'll get through as well, is what spec that car is. And that's a question I'm sure that Joe will be asking. And hello to you wherever you are around the world. In sound and vision, of course, with the 24H website, timing on the website as well, and via the player on radiolemans.com too. Link to that from the front page. And if you've got that facility, you will be seeing Silverstone in the beautiful spring sunshine. Let's go back down to Joe Bradley, who has that Mini, and we'll see that for the first time, just turning right onto its pit stand. Joe?
Yeah, they need to get that right for the race. He's come in at a bit of an angle, not square on. I'm not sure if that was the instruction, because it is, as ever with a Creventic endurance race, it is a crowded pit lane. But this car, as you can see, it's a lot different to your road-going Mini for sure. It's got lots of wings and a splitter that is barely off the ground. Now, talking to the team earlier, it's based on the car that you will see in any kind of UK Mini Challenge race. However, what the team has been able to do is optimise areas of the car which haven't been stifled by Mini Challenge regulations, which is quite logical. Dan Bailey is the team manager who's at the head of the car and running things, and when the car has changed drivers, they're also getting a new set of tyres put on it. It certainly looks the job. Now, the questionable thing about this car when we do get into the race tomorrow will be just how reliable it is. The team tell me that they've done some testing, but not any kind of long distance testing. It's just basically the testing they've done is with drivers and getting the drivers used to and acclimatised to the differences in the car. It'll be interesting to find out just what the actual differences from the perspective of the driving seat are in relation to a Mini Challenge car.
Just interested, I noticed that the part of the livery there has the well-known Northamptonshire based. In fact, you could probably throw a socket wrench to the front door of Cosworth from here. Lots of Cosworth branding on that car. What if any input have they had? Do we know? I'm
going to find out. Excellent. Because when I just noticed the big Cosworth livery on the bonnet of the car as it came in, as did you. And it'll be interesting to see if Cosworth have had any kind of play around with workings of the engine in that, what is a BMW-based Mini, isn't it?
Correct. It's an F56 shape, for those of you who know your Minis. Yeah, and it is a John Cooper Works car, listed as a John Cooper Works machine. I'm not sure whether that makes any difference to how it started life, and whether that makes it better than starting with a Mini 1 shell or whatever. Thanks, Joe. Joe Bradley down there in the pit lane. John Hindorf and Paul Truswell watching the action here. We'll have a look at the times in just a second as Joe brings us a little more news from the pit lane. Just got a car going slowly out on the circuit. Looks like the Exige, the 174 SP3 GT4 car. This is the Endurance Autosport machine. And just getting up to speed through Beckett's and heading out onto the Hanger Straight. Saw Grensport's 151 already there and heading up the hill towards Stowe. Start your braking at the end of the curb on the left. Turn in, don't take too much curb on the entrance, and try and stay off the AstroTurf on the way out, down towards the Vale. Turned in a bit early there, I reckon. Got to stay off the inside curb there. It's really nasty. And then as you come out into clubs effectively, you turn it into two corners now. Let's go back to Joe now and get some more details on that brand new to the series F56 shape John Cooper Works Mini.
Now then, the man who can tell us all about that Works Mini is this man here. This is Daniel Bishop. Daniel, good to see you here. It's great to have the Mini here in the Creventic Endurance Series in the TCE. Dan, tell us a little bit about the car. I know it's based on your Mini Challenge cars, and you guys are Mini Challenge. Tell us, for our viewers and listeners, what exactly are the differences?
We've changed the turbo on the car and also changed the engine internally, made it more durable for the endurance events. Underneath, it's still a Mini Challenge car. Suspension-wise, the subframes, that kind of stuff is all transferable from the Challenge car, but everything that was built for the sprint element of Mini Challenge, we've upgraded and changed for the endurance side of things, all the way down to wheel studs and nuts. But the things that didn't need changing, we haven't.
I saw Cosworth on the bonnet, Dan. Is Cosworth tweaked the engine a little for you?
Cosworth is mainly there just for the data logger side. So we have a good relationship with Cosworth in the Mini Challenge, and we brought their dash along. It's something that the Mini Challenge drivers are familiar with as well.
Now, I say, is this an exercise in trying to sell this Mini as an endurance racing car? Is that what Accelerate are intending doing?
Yeah, definitely. We've been involved in the Mini Challenge for many years now, but the team, myself, we all want to get involved in endurance racing and other forms of motorsport. And Mini have been great, and they're really getting behind the Mini Challenge, and that's why we're pushing the Mini as an endurance car.
It's great to see you, Dan. I know I'm sick of telling you that, but so the team, any experience of endurance racing within the team, mechanics-wise? Because it's a different kettle of fish at 4 a.m. on Sunday morning, isn't it?
It certainly is. I mean, for me, this is my first ever 24 as well. We've got some experience within Britcar, and we also do have some Creventic experience with one of our guys on the team as well. So there's a little bit of it, but fundamentally, we're still a very new team to endurance racing.
So, reliability-wise, I mean, the Mini Challenge cars made to run a full season, is it, between engine rebuilds? So reliability may not be a factor here. It's just a voyage of discovery, I would imagine.
It is, yeah. We've tried to put as many hours as we can on the car, but you can't simulate a 24-hour race. So, the Mini Challenge car is built as a 20-minute sprint car. So like I say, we've upgraded the areas that need to be for endurance racing, and yeah, tomorrow's going to show what we've learned. Absolutely.
Thanks for joining us. No doubt we'll speak to you again. Dan Bishop there, the man behind the running of this Accelerate Mini, and it's great to see another car in the series, isn't it?
Certainly is, Joe. Thank you. Paul Trustwell's been watching the times as the 176 Synchro Honda Civic Type R, the black car, goes through and starts another lap.
First two still the same. That's to say the 107 Monlau competition, the Spanish entered car, which Alvaro Bajo put the fast lap in. That car has now had a change of driver because it's now got Jose Manuel Perez Icart at the wheel. I think we'll just call him Icart as his short name.
Jose Manuel Perez
Icart.
GMPA then, he's going to be jumper.
Yeah, something like that. Anyway, so he's now in the car, and its best lap still 2 minutes 14.035. I just looked up last year's pole position incidentally, and that was a 2 minutes 16.295. So that was 2 seconds quicker than the fastest race lap last year. Lee Hodson did that in another Seat TCR. Up in the third place now, though, has come Benny Simonson at the wheel of the Modena Motorsport Seat TCR. Benny has actually got 2 entries here, not content with just racing once in a 24-hour race. He's racing twice because he's got 216 and 217, both Modena Motorsport Seat Leons.
Although, interestingly, and I'm pleased you've mentioned that, because there are different gearboxes in some of these TCR cars. Some of them have the sequential racing gearbox, others have road-based DSG boxes.
And this must be the only category, surely, where you get the gearbox as part of the manufacturer or as part of the car's name. So yes, the 2 Seat Leons with different types of gearboxes. So Benny will have to know which one he's in.
Oh, that's a very good point.
I suspect they'll probably drive whichever one. I mean, you are allowed to drive 2 cars. Nothing in the regulations that stops you.
Not at the same time, no. You're not allowed to do that.
Are you not?
Well,
sure?
It does not specifically say you can't.
I don't think it says it. I think you are allowed to. It's just
one for each foot,
something like that. However, let's cut to the chase. 2 minutes 14.498. So Benny is just a tenth of a second off the front row of the grid with his car, and then also improving in the last couple of minutes is car number 312, the Stanker Quintana Motorsport. They have to put Motorsport on the end of their name, otherwise they get everybody thinks that they're a firm of insurance agents or something. Stanker Quintana with their Seat Leon, and that's Michael Sharp who's done the fast lap in that time. The car now in the pits, but he's done a 2 minutes 16.114. But 3 cars all within half a second of each other at the top of the list, all TCRs, first, second and third, and then a further 4 TCR class cars filling positions 4 down to 7, with after the 312 Stanker Quintana car, we then get the 110 Lestra accurate racing car, which this is not a Seat Leon. This is the Volkswagen Golf, and that's Robin Fredriksson at the wheel of the car at the moment. He is 5th fastest. 6th fastest is the second of the two Modena Seats, number 217. 7th fastest is 144, the RS Connect TCR Seat, which was on pole position last year. And at only 8th overall comes the best of the SP3 GT4 cars. The other thing to say, of course, this is part of the reason why the TCRs are going to the front in the qualifying session, is that the TCR cars are not constrained by minimum reference lap times. If you're used to Creventic racing, then you'll not need me to bump on about minimum reference lap times, but class cars are constrained by them, and in Creventic GT races, the A6 class is not constrained by minimum reference lap times. Neither are the TCR class cars, so they can go as fast as they want, whereas the GT4 class cars are limited to somewhere between a 2 minutes 16 or a 2 minutes 17 or a 2 minutes 18 or a 2 minutes 19, depending on things like weight and fuel consumption and all the things that Joe was talking to Richard Neary and Martin Short about a few minutes ago. But it is it's not incumbent, but it is wise for the SP3 GT4 cars maybe not to show their full hand in qualifying, because the final balance of performance is issued after qualifying before the race. So that, I think, is why we see the grid dominated by TCRs, and the SP3 GT4 cars, what are they, 8th, 13th, 14th and 16th at the moment, with the Team ABBA with Roll Centre BMW 4th of the 4 SP3 cars there. Well, no, there's 5, isn't there, because there's the Lotus Exige, which you did say you saw going slowly, John, but it's now got back to the pits.
It has got back to the pits. Its best lap at 2:27.8 is a little off the pace. Improvement for Sam Tordoff in the 151. Now, I've immediately said Sam Tordoff, and just now checking that it is really indeed Sam Tordoff in the Zorg Rennsport BMW. These are the 235, the M235i's, built specifically originally for VLN racing, and there was a very solid 22 of them in VLN1 last weekend. They've also found their way into various international endurance racing, and the Cup 1 races, and the Cup 1 class here is specifically for them. Second in class for that 151 car. Sam's just brought it into the pits. It's still the QSR 154 BMW that leads Cup 1.
Halfway through the session, John.
Already.
30 minutes of your life has just disappeared whilst these guys have been going around in their qualifying session. 30 minutes still to go.
Let's head down to Moss Motorsport UK. A couple of entries for them, a couple of BMWs of different shapes and vintage. Chris Murphy is with Joe Bradley.
Chris has just gotten out of the 136 numbered BMW E46. Chris, what's it like out there on track? It's lovely and sunny in the pit lane, but what's it like out in the circuit?
It's perfect conditions today. We came last Wednesday to do a test day in the BM, which is my first time in that particular car, and it was pouring rain, so it was a great relief today to come along and have nice dry weather. Conditions are perfect, and what's quite exciting about this race so far is it's my first 24 hours, and what's quite exciting for me is the fact that all the cars are around about the same pace, where I'm normally used to driving my GT4 Aston against GT3 cars that are considerably faster than us, but in this particular case we're all going to be there or thereabouts on pace, so it's going to make for a really exciting 24 hours, and I'm very much looking forward to it.
Now, we're in the midst of qualifying, Chris, and I couldn't help but notice about a 15mm spacer going on the front wheel there, behind the wheel. It's sort of it's a spacer that goes behind the wheel in front of the... It's to kind of increase the track. Is that just a little tweak, just trying to eke a bit of handling?
Well, you know more than I do.
All right, I see. Yeah, you're just the driver after all.
On this occasion, I'm just the driver. I've never driven the car before, apart from testing. I don't know what they're doing, but I guess it's to give you a bit more width, just some more traction, just to be a little bit quicker around the corners. But the car actually handles really, really well. I would put it to be like driving a kart on a kart track. I normally drive an Aston GT4 that's got ABS, traction control, more power, more balance, but this is more raw fun, and it's actually quite exciting, and I'm really looking forward to racing.
And not too much traffic out there, it's comfortable?
At the moment, it seems fun. I think there's 30-odd entries, and round Silverstone, 30 is not a problem because it's so long. We did Abu Dhabi, 12 hours of December. That was about the same sort of number of cars, same sort of length track, and it was no problem. It's just going to be good fun.
Keep smiling, Chris. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
And whilst that interview was going on, Paul Truswell, a new fastest time.
Yes, 2 minutes 13.466 now from Jose Manuel Perez Aycart. I'll say it quickly and kind of trips off the tongue nicely, doesn't it?
You may say that, yes.
So he extends the gap at the front to 0.9 of a second, very nearly, not quite 9/10 of a second. Still the Rick Broiker's time. That car, having done its time, come back into the pits and hasn't been seen since. 2 minutes 14.360. It was briefly quickest when it went out, but then got overtaken by the Spanish Seat as opposed to the Dutch one, which is nicely in orange colours for the number 303. And still third fastest and also in the pits is Benny Stevenson with the 216 Modena Motorsport Seat. That's the... it's actually, although it's called Modern Motorsports, it's a Hong Kong entry, and along with Benny Stevenson, John Shen, who's a Hong Kong-based Canadian, and Francis Chia, who's a Hong Kong-based Dutchman, and another Canadian in the shape of Wayne Shen. So Wayne and John Shen, the two Canadian Hong Kong drivers of the two Modern Motorsport cars. Just something else there that just picking up on the interview we just had, talk about the number of cars on the entry list, the length of the circuit, and the nature of the circuit. I think we might get through this race, John, with I'm going to say it now to get it out of the way, relatively few Code 60s. And if they are, then I think they'll be fairly short because Silverstone is famous for lots of gravel. And so if they do have to get rid of cars or move cars, it'll be out of gravel into a place of safety rather than the long Code 60s, which are usually as a result of having to rebuild Armco. So, I mean, you have to go a long way and do a lot of damage to mean that you have to replace Armco with one of these touring cars. So I would have thought that we could be getting through the race with a fair amount of clear track. And the weather forecast, again, being optimistic in my boyish way, the weather forecast is reasonable. There's a little bit of dampness around on Saturday, but Saturday night and Sunday are both supposed to be dry, so with a fair wind we might get a good long race, and that will mean I always find that a good thing because it means that you can kind of plan your strategy a bit better and work out what you're going to do next. Now, Rick Broikers has headed up for the fueling area in the 303 Red Camel Jordans.nl Seat, so we'll see whether he's going to be able to try and improve his position on the grid, still, as I say, second. And also going out is the number 217 Modena Motorsport Seat, which is now being taken out by Philippe Descum. And a bit of a flurry of activity as well, because the RS Connect Seat, number 144, is on its way out onto the circuit again with Neil Stossart behind the wheel.
And into the pits in front of us now is the number 176. That's the Synchro Motorsport Honda Civic. Current Race of Remembrance champions. Martin Byford, you were part of that team back in November. It's a bit different, the weather this day.
Just a subtle change, yes. Yeah, a little bit warmer, even a little bit of sunshine, so yeah.
And the race this weekend, a little bit longer as well. It was only, I think, 6 hours at Anglesey, wasn't it? It's 24 hours, so how's the Honda going to go over 24 hours?
Should be good. History showing us that the car's reliable. Shouldn't probably say that before the race. But yeah, it treats us well. It clicks off the lap times. You know, it's been really, really good, solid car. This is coming towards the end of its life now because there's a new one coming. So yeah, this is going middle of this year. This one will be retired off and replaced by the next shape car.
So is this its farewell race, do you think?
No, it's going to do some of the brick car rounds as well. So this will probably be its last 24-hour race, and then we should have the new car up and running for Barcelona, and then hopefully we'll be taking it to Texas as well.
Oh, Texas, of course. Martin, you are in the Year 3 class, and at the moment, we're in the midst of qualifying, as we know. It's a little bit tight in the Year 3 class, very competitive. Where do you see your competition coming from in that class?
Well, Well, certainly the BMWs are going to be very, very strong. Rear-wheel drive gives them a nice balance on tyres. They should be able to hold their lap time over a long stint, probably longer than we can, because we're going to burn up our front tyres a little bit. And they're quick. They're M3s. They're fast. So that's a definite area we've got to watch. The new Mini is proving to be very fast. We're just watching it getting closer and closer to us as we speak in qualifying. So he might pip us in quali, but qualifying doesn't mean too much. This is all about the race. Dan's gone out now, so he'll get his laps in. It means we're all qualified and good to go. We'll look after the car. And as they kind of say, it's like that old adage, you've got to play the long game, haven't you?
Yeah.
So.
You make it sound so easy. Thanks, Martin. No doubt we'll speak to you again over the weekend. Best.
Good to hear as well from Martin that they're going to upgrade to the new Type R when that becomes available. It's a very interesting looking machine, very aggressive. If the pictures that I've seen in Auto Express and other places are to be believed.
Yeah, there's a road-going version of it in the paddock as well, which really does look like a touring car built for the road, or vice versa. One of only 2 cars that are running with a 3-driver lineup. That one, Martin Byford just saying that Dan Wheeler going out in the car, and Alan James brought the car in. I don't think Martin's actually driven it during qualifying yet.
I don't think that'll be a problem for a driver of the calibre of Mr. Byford.
Especially not at Silverstone,
no.
So, as I say, the other car, that's number 176 running with 3 drivers. The other one running with 3 drivers is the Moss Motorsport BMW 1M, which is Tony Morris, Robert Nern and Mark Armstrong. The other Moss Motorsport car, there's 2 Moss Motorsport BMWs. One is a 1M, the other one is an M3, which is the one with Mike Moss, Chris Murphy, Scott Adam and Barry McMahon driving in it. And as I say, they've got 2 cars in 2 different classes, because the 1M BMW running as an SP3 GT4 class car, and that is currently in 3rd place in the class. Martin Short has just taken the BMW out of the pit lane and onto the track, having taken it over from Richard Neary. All 4 drivers in the Team ABBA Roll Centre BMW have now been at the wheel of it. And yeah, it's very... I think cards close to chest is the order of the day for Martin and his team. 2 minutes 20.734. I won't tell you what they did during free practice, nor what they did in testing on Tuesday, but it was considerably quicker than that on tyres, which Martin felt were slightly past their best, although that wasn't the word he used.
Really? Was it a shorter word?
Yes.
That was a technical. It was a technical term. 30th year of motorsport competition for Martin Short.
And Martin, I mean, he did say that he's won 2 24-hour races, both of which were here at Silverstone. The first of which was the first ever Silverstone 24 hours.
We were here
in the Mosler, and so. I wasn't here for that one.
Oh, were you not?
No.
I was. It was very cold in the night.
Wasn't that one of the ones they stopped in the night? I can't remember.
I can't remember if they stopped it or we just had a very long safety car when it was cold, foggy and generally unpleasant.
Yes, he did 603 laps. I don't think they kind of stopped it because they wouldn't have been able to otherwise. Anyway, so Martin Short, yes, with bags of experience and a lot of success here at Silverstone as well. John?
Seat Leon with the DSG box of Holmgard Motorsport, the 102 car, sitting in 22nd overall, 13th in class, is slow through Beckett's. Now,
the slowest of all the TCRs, I do believe. Yes, it is.
Heads on to the Hanger Straight and isn't picking up speed. Meantime, the 176 Synchro Motorsport Honda is going back out again. I didn't see who got into that, if indeed it was. It was Dan Wheeler that brought the car in. Dan of Dread clothing fame. And had a good chat with him on the way back from, it must have been Dubai. Joe Bradley says, just scrubbing tyres. Which car, Joe, was that?
the one that you're talking about, the Honda with Dan Wheeler.
Thank you.
He's just gone out, just come back in, new set of tyre, or the brand new set that was on have come off, and another brand new set have gone on. And I just happened to still be with Martin, and I said, "You're obviously just scrubbing tyres." Yeah, there's the thumbs up.
Thank you. So another new set of Hankooks going on there.
Just to confirm, Dan Wheeler then staying behind the wheel of
Very,
number
very
176.
decent peddler he's done.
Yeah. Rick Broikers having, I wonder if they're doing the same thing with the Red Camel Jordans .NL Seat, because he's just taken the car back out onto the circuit again. Cor Oyser is here, talking about Martin Short having been around for as long as anybody can remember. Cor Oyser is here and is probably one of the most experienced racing drivers in the entry. And he's in the number 71 BMW M3, and he's sharing with Martin Moose, John Ferrano, Peter Clutt, John Ferrano and Peter Clutt both Canadian, and then James Briody, the American. And Cor Oyser has just left the pits in number 71 and currently is the 5th in Class A3 with the BMW. Would have expected that car to be a bit further up the field than that. Now, J.M. Littman going out as well. Now, he's got himself 2 berths because he was due to be driving the Porsche Cayman, but he's also got a ride in the Vanquish Motorsport Seat Leon Super Copa, which is an A3 class car, number 138, and he has just gone out in the car that he shares with Chris Yarwood, Simon Cresswell and Paul Plant. J.M. Littman currently with a best of 2 minutes 23.951. The Blake Molan Seat goes up to 4th fastest, car number 100.
That was the car that led for, it seemed, more than it was more than the first half of the race, wasn't it, last year?
Yes, it was into the early morning.
Well into the morning.
As I remember, yesterday. Down, I see that's actually... Oh, no, it is 100, isn't it? Sorry, I'm getting myself confused. Sebastian Blake-Molen, the driver at the moment. 3 Dutchmen and an Englishman, the drivers. Sebastian Blake-Molen sharing with Melvin de Groot, René Steenmetz and Rob Smith. We'll try and get Rob Smith into the car as much as we possibly can. And it's 2 minutes 15.654. So still that gap of a second separating the first 3 from everybody else.
And good afternoon to you if you are just joining us. We're just into the last quarter of racing here, or qualifying here, and wherever you are joining us in the world, synced up in sound and vision. Hello to Hindhoff Senior, settling himself in to the new Hindhoff Towers here in the Midlands. And
the new Hindhoff Towers.
Oh yes, Hindhoff Senior is now based in the Midlands. And he's
I see. Sorry, yes. I thought he was settling into your house, but no, he's settling into.
No, he's got delighted to say we're joined by one of the winning drivers from last year in the booth.
What a surprise!
Rookie.
Yes. Now, I said that you would regret not doing that in your own name last year, Mr. Cox. Darren Cox it is, although he wasn't entered under that name last year. Have you?
No. I knew that I was in the winning car. I think the funniest thing you said, John, and you've obviously said some funny things over the years, was I was in the car, I was driving the car that won. Some inference that I didn't help the team.
That's not what I meant at all.
I know, but it was quite funny. And obviously, you know, it was an amazing year this year, and I just last year, and I just had to pop back and see the Roll Centre team and see this amazing event. So just thought I'd pop by and say hello. You
had the car to bring home at a difficult time in the race when conditions were very difficult, and I remember you saying at the time that you were quite worried when you first went out in that.
Yeah, I got on the radio to Shorty. I think he's out now, isn't he? In the ABBA Roll Centre racing car, and said this thing's got no brakes. And he said a rude word and told me to get on with it. But he apologised a few a few days later when they took the brakes out, and literally they were through to the pads were done. So yeah, but we had a 3-lap lead at that point, but yeah, it was worrying. It was starting to spit with rain. You know, you hear noises in the car.
Of course
so
you do.
It was brilliant. Well, I mean, what a memory, and what a thing to have done.
Brilliant, mate. I'm very, very envious. What driving are you doing this year?
Nothing yet. I've got that great excuse, you know, business commitments and all that sort of thing. So, yeah, not doing anything. I'm aiming to do something at the end of the year. I've got a lot of big projects on at the moment. And do you know what? Last year I didn't do myself any justice. I didn't do any testing. Well, we did one day, but I didn't get much running. And then we had these drive shaft problems before the race. I didn't get much running. And, you know what it's like, John, just jumping in the car. You know, you're never anywhere near the pace until you spend some time. You know, Richard and Martin in this car, and obviously doing British GT, they're in cars all the time. And I literally haven't sat in a racing car since this time last year. So, you know, I had a few people ask me about drives for this year, but I just wouldn't do myself any justice, and I wouldn't enjoy it. So I'm going to watch it online and enjoy the race unfold.
It's a good point you make there, but how easy then, or how comfortable did you feel jumping into that very powerful car, proper racing car? It's about getting the confidence levels up quickly, isn't it, when you jump into a car like that? When you, like me, I don't get to race enough. When I get asked if I can, I do. And what I always feel is if I can feel confident quickly in the car and comfortable, then I feel a lot more at one with it.
Honestly, that thing is amazing. I mean, that BMW is a wonderful piece of kit. You know, it's long in the tooth, but that means it's been developed to within an inch of its life. And for me, you know, the car handled fantastic. I was a bit uncomfortable in it in the seating position to start off with. Once we sorted that out, honestly, the thing just, you know, knows its way around here almost. And you know, the guys set it up perfectly. Apart from those niggles we had before the race with the drive shaft, you know, everything else worked perfectly. So no, that particular car was very easy to drive.
In some ways, of course, coming from the back of a 24-hour grid and then winning, that's a great way to go motor racing. In some ways, anything you do now is going to be a bit of an anticlimax, isn't it?
Without a doubt, that's the problem, isn't it? But I can say that last season I was unbeaten. I did one race and I won it. So I don't think that'll happen again. And what a race, you know. As you know, John, I'm a 24-hour fan first and foremost. Been to not as many 24 hours as you, but a lot all around the world, and to actually compete in one and then you know, go and win it is just, you know, it literally at my level. This is my level. No, I'm never going to go and do the Nürburgring.
But this is your Le Mans, isn't it? This is your Le Mans. This is your Nürburgring 24.
And there are, you know, whatever, 120 guys out there. You know, probably 100 of them is exactly the same. You know, there's probably 20 guys that race in, you know, bigger races, but there's 100 guys out there that this is their Le Mans, and that's a very good point. You know, I'd never go and do, you know, the Nürburgring 24 hours. I'm not at that level, but this is the top of what I could go and try and achieve.
But I mean, the beauty of it is, Darren, and we were just saying this to John a moment ago, you know, you've got people of the calibre of, you know, Stuart Hall, Martin Short, Cor Oyser, who have been out there and done Le Mans. You know, they're not just kind of specialists at doing British club racing. You know, these are international racing drivers that have been all over the world being paid to race cars. And, you know, it gives you the opportunity as an amateur racer, as an enthusiast, to actually be in the same race with people like them racing on the Silverstone Grand Prix circuit. No, it gives you a buzz, doesn't it?
Yeah, and I think that's the great thing about endurance racing. And I was talking the other day to someone about GT racing, and you know, if you just track how many people were racing GT cars 10 years ago compared to now, all prototypes, in fact. You know, the great job that Creventec have done with their new series, the LMP3 Cup in the UK, you know, all the GT classes around the world. Someone needs to do a graph that shows the increase.
It would be straight up.
And how many people are racing. It's brilliant.
I think another aspect of it, and sitting up here as I do, 10 minutes to go in this session, in fact 9 minutes to go in the session now, I hear all the interviews. I never get to go down there and talk to the drivers, but I'd listen to what the drivers are saying, and so much enthusiasm comes out of the drivers, whether it's here, whether it's in Dubai. We had it as well, particularly I noticed in Daytona when we were there.
But didn't we say last year here, Paul, what was it refreshing to us as Brits? and particularly this is my local circuit effectively now. I've been here, and Snetterton would be a toss-up as to who's closest.
Rockingham?
Rockingham, of course, yes.
I'm 15 minutes away, I've just driven it.
Yeah, well, you know, what was great was hearing all the foreign voices, the European voices, the people from further afield, saying how great it was to be racing at Silverstone because it's a Grand Prix circuit and because they watch it on the TV. Whereas it's easy for us, Darren, sometimes to be a bit blasé about this because we've done track days here, we've done manufacturer days here, we've been here a lot.
It is funny, isn't it? It's, you know, with my experience in Japan, you know, wouldn't we love to go and race at Suzuka or Fuji? Those guys all want to come and race at Silverstone and Brands Hatch, you know, circuits that we've raced on. So it is the grass is greener thing, but that's the beauty of international motorsport, isn't it? You can go and race in these series. And again, Creventic have done an amazing job. You look at their calendar, look at the circuits on their calendar around the world.
It's all bucket list stuff, isn't it?
It absolutely is. And, you know, I've got the list out and I'd love to do a couple at the end of the season.
Quarter? Yeah. 24 hours?
Well, that would be amazing, wouldn't it? You know, but for me, you know, I was close to doing Barcelona last year.
I'd love to do that event.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, lovely city. You know, for you know someone like myself, you know, you've got to take that into account as well. Yeah, I mean, what a brilliant sport.
Now I've had my TV Wexit. I'm free that weekend.
Well, that's one of the reasons I come to see you, to hear the real story behind that one. So, yes, absolutely. But I think, you know, and I had a bit of debate on Twitter the other day about accessibility, but for drivers, this sport is amazingly accessible, and I'd love to know where they've all come from. You know, have numbers of track day, you know, gone down, or is it just more people out there on circuit enjoying our sport?
Yeah, absolutely. Darren, thanks for being with us.
Thank you.
You know
very
you're
much.
welcome anytime if you do pop back over the weekend. I can't imagine that if you're 15 minutes down the road, you're just going to tune in online.
We'll see. I'll see how well all my mates are doing in various different cars up and down the grid. So I'll come and maybe cheer them on if they're doing all right.
And how many chores need doing around the house?
Well, I've got a new petrol mower now, so that's the exciting purchase in the last few weeks. So
I did hear about that. That was very good. Darren, thanks for joining us. Darren Cox, winning driver from last year, of course, and took the winning car to the flag here at Silverstone last year. Into the last 6 minutes or so. Paul, a quick look at the times.
Yeah, an improvement coming from Rick Broikers with the Red Camel Jordans.nl Seat. We said he was going out. Well, he did improve, but not by very much, down to a 2 minutes 14.341 only. So he improved his time by a tenth, but still the Spanish Monlau Seat number 107 is the one that holds pole position provisionally, and with 5 minutes to go, looking good for him. So 2 minutes 13.466 is the time that everybody else is trying to beat. Broikers then second, then Benny Simonson in the Modena Motorsport Seat, the Hong Kong-based team, car number 216 with a 2 minutes 14.498. And then into fourth place now has come car number 174, the Lotus Exige, which is the fastest of the SP3 GT4 class cars, and that's who's it? Tom Bradshaw, who set the time in that car to do a 2 minutes 14.576. Now, although they're not constrained by minimum reference lap times during the qualifying session, they are at least showing what that car is capable of doing. During the race, it'll be having to do slower than 2 minutes 16. Martin Short has also improved in the Team ABBA with Roll Centre BMW. He has got the car down to a 2 minutes 16.442 to make it second in the SP3 GT4 class and ninth overall.
Mike Nash, Paul. Hello, Mike. Nice to know that you're tuned in this afternoon with just on 4 minutes to go. Seeing quality times a lot quicker than last year, relatively similar conditions. What's this? Is this a new tyre? Is this the cars being developed? What do we think, Paul?
All of the above. It's still Hankook tyres. It was a Hankook last year, but it's a different compound of Hankook tyre. I suspect there might be a bit of a wind factor. Because
I'm sorry about that. That's my new diet.
It is blowing fairly briskly from the west, and I just wonder if that's helping them along a little bit. And I think it's the fact that competition improves the breed. Some 14 TCR class cars in the entry, as compared to, what was it, 5 or 6 last year. So you know, the prospects for the GT4s much less this year, purely by virtue of the fact that the opposition are there in numbers.
And it may well have kept a few GT4 cars away. There was more than a half a chance of me in a GT4 car here, but the entry hasn't materialised. But we're working on that for later in the season, out at Quarter, in fact, for my debut in this series. A little bit of love tap coming out of the first corner at Cops. The two of the Seat Leon TCR cars getting a little closer than they really needed to, as they were heading down towards Beckett's. That was not really required at this stage of the weekend, with 3 minutes still to go. Beautiful sunshine here at Silverstone. Certainly a blustery day, and still to come. After we've set the qualifying positions, we will have night practice for you later on this evening. Cars back on track at 7:30 local time. It is just coming up to 3 o'clock here, and an improvement for the car that really did dominate before the turbo went foot last year. This is the number 100 Seat for the Bleekemolen team.
Yeah, Sebastian improving on his previous time in 2 minutes 14.462. Then a new best lap for that car, puts it third and ahead of the Modern Motorsport Seat 216. So some great names up at the front there: Breukers, Bleekemolen, Simonsen in second, third and fourth places. And as I say, they're separated by less than 0.2 of a second for those three cars. The one that's a little bit out of sync, as I say, is the Monlau competition Seat, which is 0.8 of a second faster than anybody else.
Per Paulsen's just improved the 102 Seat TCR from Holmgaard Motorsport, 2:18.2, and that's taking him up to 16th position, but that's only 12th in the TCR class. So that gives you an idea of how tightly those TCR cars are packing the top of the timing and scoring monitor here. At some of the, well, actually, we'll wait till the checkered flag before we go through some of the classes, and that'll give Joe a chance to be running backwards and forwards up and down the pit lane, trying to get all of the pole sitters for us, who will not be in the same place in the pit, of course.
From each class?
Yeah.
Excellent. Excellent. You do give him his challenges, don't you?
Oh, yes.
Well done. Now,
looks like the ABBA roll centre car is has done its work, and yes, the BMW is going back into the pits.
But it has drawn attention to something that we're going to have to be careful of tomorrow, and that is that when they do that, they push it forward and push it back into the garage. They push it over the timing beam, which says that it's gone into the fueling area. Now, I noticed this. I was watching some of this online when I wasn't at Silverstone a couple of days ago, and I thought they're spending an awful time refueling the car, but it's not. It's when they push it forward to then back it into the garage, they go over the refueling timing line, and so it comes up with an F. And if you're watching on the online stream, I think there's an F in the, is it an F? I can't remember quite how the online, no, it says fuel, doesn't it? That's right. So in the state column on the online timing, it gives you a state of fuel. And that is not true with Martin Short's car, because Martin, being Martin, managed to get to the very end pit in order to be close to the refueling station, because he thought that would give him an advantage. So that's the pit he's got. But it does mean when they push the car into the garage, they trip the beam to say they've gone into the fueling area.
They're defending champions of this race. They should be having first pick.
They get a choice of where they wanted to be, and they asked for that garage.
And no one else had asked for it before them.
Natasha said, yes, of course you can, Martin. Or something to that effect. Check the flags out.
107 Seat going into its pit box as well. This is the Monlau competition car, which is on pole position. Beautiful set of equipment inside, and accoutrement inside the pit lane itself. Joe Bradley is down there. This is our pole sitting car as it stands at the moment. The checkered flag is out, Joe. One or two cars, including Rick Breukers and Sebastian Bleekemolen, are still on laps. They will come round in a moment, so bear with me for a moment if you wouldn't mind. The 303, the bright orange Red Camel Jordan Seat TCR, in the hands of young Rick Breukers, who has been a bit of a sensation and is already branching out into other forms of motorsport. He is where at the moment?
Just coming through Abbey, and then the left-hander at... Ooh, what's the left-hander after Abbey called? Before you get to the loop, anyway.
Village.
No, this is Village.
Oh, that's
here.
Village. All right,
That's
sorry, yes.
there.
Oh, just that little kinky
Farm.
thing. Farm, that's right. Yeah, sorry. Been off there many times in simulators. Let's just wait for those guys to come through. Blake and Muller must be somewhere similar on the circuit as well.
Blake and Muller has just gone through.
Does not improve. 14.7.
Royker's coming into Luffield now, John.
Watch for the bright orange car as it comes into view. He's had a decent run without too much traffic. The checkered flag is out, and here comes the bright orange Seat. He crosses the line now, and he does improve his time to a 13.9, but not quick enough. Still half a second between himself and the Monlau competition Seat. Only 2 cars below 2 minutes 14, and they are obviously the first two, 107 and 303. Rick Broikers then just 0.477 of a second away from taking pole position, but that goes to the 107 car, and Joe Bradley is down there.
Now, the problem I have with this beautiful 107 Seat is that my Espanol is poco, and their Inglesi is also poco. So I just need someone from the pole position car to say muy bien, and then that would suffice for a look. The team is smiling. They're happy to be. All I need you is estupendo. Sí, estupendo. Congratulations. Muy bien.
Thank you very much.
See, that will do. Well done. So that's our pole position interview. Habla inglés? You speak English, sir. Yeah. Well done. The Monlau team have done very well. We're going to have to step out here so the camera can pick up the signal. You can tell us a little bit about, what it means to be on pole position for tomorrow's 24 Hours of Silverstone.
Well, we are very happy to be here and very happy to have the pole position. But of course, it's 24 hours racing, so we will have to see tomorrow how things are going. And we understand that the first job is to get the car back at the finish line, because the pole position by itself, it's nice to have it, but it doesn't mean that much. So we will do our best and try to finish in the front.
Well done, congratulations. You are the champions for today. Tomorrow's a different day. Well done. Monlau competition. Our pole position, Seat in the TCR class. So TCR being the class at the front of this field.
As we suspected, I think, Joe, thank you very much indeed for that, muy bien. I wondered if your only line of Spanish was going to come out there. I'm not sure how we could work that one in. Let's run through the front couple of rows. It is the red Camel Jordan on the outside of the front row with that Monlau competition car on the inside. Then it's the team Blake and Mullen. These are all Seat TCRs, by the way. And then the Modena Motorsport, the first of the Modena Motorsport car. Top 4, all TCRs. The Endurance Autosport Exige, having had a few problems earlier on, has come back and taken GT4, that's the SP3 class, with the second car inside the top 10 for Martin Short and the Team ABBA with Tim Abbott with Rule Centre Racing. Our other class leaders, as we cycle through the next page of qualifying, down in A3 pole is the A140 BMW from Intersport Racing, and Joe Bradley is down there now.
Yes, and Kevin Clark, I'm not sure if it was Kevin who got the pole. Hello, Kevin. Congratulations, you're on the A3 class pole position for tomorrow's race. I know we can deliberate as to just how important qualifying is for a 24-hour race, but hey, the car's got the speed.
Yeah, that's right. We're quite happy with the car. It's, we've all got to run at a certain time to be allowed to race there. But yeah, it's nice to know the car can get a move on. So yeah, it's quite good. Enjoyed it.
Looking forward to tomorrow's race?
Yeah, very much so. I've got a good bunch of lads around me, and we should have a good time.
We are, Kev. Thanks, man.
Kevin Clark from Intersport Racing running through. We got down to 20, I think. 21st is the BMW Cup 1 pole sitter. That was throughout the session. That was the QSR car, the number 154. The A2 class pole sitter, the Honda Civic, the 91 car. That is the Area MS Owens endurance car. That's the Jack Fabi, Carl Swift, David Vincent and Mark Harris car down in 27th position. And that just leaves then in fact, no, that is the last of the pole sitters, isn't it? So that is the last of our pole sitters, sitting there in 27th position. And the whole of the field have been out there. Joe Bradley is at the 91 garage of that A2 class Honda. Joe, happy smiling faces for Area MS?
Yes, they are indeed. I'm not sure if you're going to lose me. We may need a camera battery change, but we have got smiling faces. Sorry, what's your name? You've took your overalls off.
Carl Swift.
Carl, congratulations. You're on the A2 class pole. Job done so far.
Absolutely. I mean, it's a bit of a shame there's only two of us here, but we've managed to get that pole and quite a way up the A3s at one point as well, so that's a bit fun.
Yeah, so tomorrow, like you say, it doesn't matter there's only two in the class. There's still a long way to go. 20 hours is a long, long way.
That's right, and a big field in front of us that we can try and go past and be more reliable, Dan.
Absolutely. Congratulations, guys. See you tomorrow. Well, in fact, see you.
Joe Bradley there, and well done to those guys. It will be night practice, our next session for you, again in sound and vision here on the interweb net via the series website, 24H series.com, and of course via the pop-out player on radiolemans.com. Thanks to Darren Cox for joining us, Paul Trustwell and Joe Bradley. I'm John Hindhaugh. Hope you've enjoyed this little Friday afternoon bit of excitement. It's only the starters though. We've got the main course tomorrow, 24 hours of Silverstone for the first round of the 24-hour Touring Car Endurance Series 2017, powered by Hankook.